Hey, my creative friends. I am Shannon from Shannon Studio, and we are here to talk creativity, a creative lifestyle, things that help us to be better in our life so that we have more room to be creative. So some of my stuff behind me. I got a little bit of stuff behind me to make Valentine's. I was going to do that today, but then, just the simple things. Sometimes when you move to a different country and you don't, you just bring your suitcases. And I didn't have straight pins. I'm like, how do I not have straight pins? But so that put everything on hold because, and then Joseph wasn't feeling well today, so he stayed home. So I played a lot of Uno today. That's what I did. And so we're in February. February kind of just slipped in there for me, and I was like, oh man, it's February. So it's the love month. And I had a whole list, I do have a whole list of things to talk about the first couple weeks about your relationships, marital relationships. Hey, Tricia. We're going to talk a little bit about I call Alan my perfect match because he's not perfect, but he's perfect for me, and whatever we have works together. So, and it's one of the best relationships in my life. So I thought, you know what? There's a lot of around Valentine's Day not talking about relationships because there's a lot of people who are sensitive that they don't have one, and I totally get that. But that doesn't mean to me also that we dismiss relationships or that we don't talk about them. Sometimes we should talk about them more. So we're going to do until Valentine's Day, we're going to do some tips about marriage. Gonna go there. So, and why creativity tips and relationships? So, and this can kind of go for any of your relationships, but creativity, first off, it's nice to have a little bit of creative ability in a relationship to kind of divert things or to come up with different solutions. And the other part is there are benefits to being creative. So the benefits are like being a problem solver. That's one of the things that you develop being creative by making things. When you go through the process of making things, you have to make certain choices. You have to leave certain things out. When you come to something you don't know how to do, you've just got to keep pushing through until you find a solution. And so there are lots of ways when you are creative, you are less stressed, you're in a better mood, you're more confident. All those things are very helpful in relationships. So one of the tip for tonight for relationships is don't try to be married to yourself. Don't try to make your spouse into yourself. So, for instance, this is what I like to do, so you should like to do it. Or this is the way I see it, so you should see it this way. Or this is the way places I like to go, why don't you like to go to these places? And sometimes I see couples who, one spouse is really trying to make the other spouse be like them. And I could see where it'd be easy. It could be really easy if everybody in the relationship agreed, and did the same thing and wanted the same thing. Yeah, and there's a lot of that in relationships, but I don't think it should be across the board. You probably wouldn't like being married to you. You like the way you play off of each other in the different forms and the different individuality that you have. So in the book Creative Calling, Chase Jarvis talks about relationships and creativity in relationships, which is really interesting that he brought it up in that book, because I do think that there's value in seeing creativity and relationships. So he says, and he's talking about different aspects of people and who this book is for, or who his book is for. So he says, if the spirit of creativity and invention infuses every day, and all of your important relationships with joy infuse. Let me start over again. You know how I read when I'm doing this. It just takes me a minute sometimes. If the spirit of creativity and invention infuses every day and all of your important relationships with joy, inspiration, vitality, you've already learned anything I can teach you. Whatever you're doing, it's working. You're living the dream. Go back to creating your day. So that idea of infusing your relationship with the spirit of creativity, like, you know, realizing you can take a different path if you get kind of stuck as a couple, or you are at kind of a impasse, then you can go, okay, this is when I kick in my creative abilities and see how we can get past this. Or this, in the spirit of the invention, like inventing the kind of relationship you want, envisioning what you see yourself as a couple. Joy, creativity leads to joy. It makes you feel good, and then you start to infuse your relationship with how you feel. And inspiration and vitality. I mean, that's what I think a creative life really does for an individual. It really leaves that person with such a vitality for life. And then if you think about yourself bringing that into your significant relationship, and you know, that can be a game changer. So the idea is to not look at your spouse as somebody to turn into, you know, to turn them into you, but to let them be an individual, let them have their likes and dislikes, and use your creativity, use who you are to see how that relationship still works, how it can work, how you can infuse that vitality into it. So that is the tip for tonight. Don't turn your spouse into you. So tell me about what you think about that. Do you see it at all that people try to have their spouse become like them? Put it in the comments. Or ways that maybe you've gotten past that, or seen other people get past that. And yeah, let me know. All right. So remember, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it, and I will be back tomorrow. Bye.